Good evening and welcome to a Friday night live stream as the US stock market prepares to close. We've had a massive day in the markets. We're going to cover everything tonight. And you might have noticed a new fresh look. I'm back on camera. You know, the bull run's about to kick off. But in all honesty, we were drowning in the DMs asking for me back on camera. So yeah, that's why I'm back. And we are about to kick off a massive September where I believe people are going to be in for a bit of shock if you are on the sidelines. If you're not, if you're in CC Pro, you'll know that we are fully bullish on September despite all the noise. And we're going to cover everything tonight. So let's dive in to Bitcoin. Bitcoin keeps attempting to break this $112,000 level. As the daily candles come to a close, we seem to rally into the resistance and then sell off afterwards. It's a bit frustrating, to be honest. I feel like if we did manage to break above it, that is a signal to the market. And I do think we will break it eventually. I've said for weeks, maybe even months, that I feel like everything is being manipulated, timed, so that when they finally let the floodgates go, this market is going to absolutely explode. And I think we've kind of seen that over the last few nights. If we go down onto our lower time frames, you can see every time we break above that 112k level, we just immediately get smashed back down. It happened again last night, just before the close. I think it was, just here. We were breaking above and then we just get smashed back down. So for me, these wicks are just going to eat into the sell orders. They're going to remove some of the barrier of sells at that level. And then also what they're going to do is they're going to lure in loads of shorts. So we're going to see people piling into the market. Every time we get up to 112k, shorts are going to pile in. Eventually there's going to be a short squeeze and we'll see this market absolutely rip. Got as high as $113,300 today, and then immediately got slapped back down. Let's have a look around the market. The US stock market is just coming to a close, and interestingly, on the day, the Russell 2000 zone index, that is positive, so that's really bullish. We've spoke about it before. The correlation between the Russell small cap stocks in the US and crypto is pretty confirmed at this point. You can see the Russell has been in a massive retracement. This is the fib levels dating back to that December high. Remember when Trump got elected, and then we peaked in December. We then came down April the 7th. That was the tariff drama low. You can see we have now closed, as long as we close tonight above 2381, we'll have closed above all Fibonacci retracement levels, which means next stop, new all-time high for the Russell 2000. That's going to be bullish for crypto, and of course it's bullish for small cap stocks. So big moves across the stock market. Tesla closing up huge today, a big gap. MicroStrategy is up on the day, a bit of a volatile day. I do have Twitter open because I've saw reports that it definitely won't be included in the S&P 500 moving forward. But I believe there's a Trump announcement and there's another stock market announcement tonight while we're on stream. So I'll keep that open and keep you updated with what is going on. MicroStrategy, for anyone who doesn't know, they now qualify for the S&P 500, but it's up to the institution to actually include them in the index. The reason that's bullish is a lot of pension funds, a lot of hedge funds, a lot of institutions, they allocate to the S&P 500, and they don't care about what stocks are in it, they just allocate to it. When a stock gets added, all these index funds have to go and rebalance their portfolio and add the new company. And they reckon that's about $20 billion worth of buy pressure to MicroStrategy alone once it gets included. Now, it does qualify. Whether or not they add it, it goes back to my argument that I think everything is being manipulated to hold crypto back until the time is right. Let's have a look at crypto. So Bitcoin, 111,000, just kind of waddling up and down like it's been for the past few weeks. Nothing major happening, to be fair, in Bitcoin. XRP, though, on the day up over 2%, showing some strength, finally. As you can see, it's been in this downtrend since back in July, since we had that massive rally to all-time high. We've just been in a huge downtrend, and it now looks like we could have perhaps put in the bottom at 276. This will be the first higher low in this trend, so hopefully the downtrend is then broken, and then we can see if we can challenge this trend line. If we break above that, then the target is 313 and then 340 before back to all-time highs. So that would be very nice indeed for XRP. Cardano, strangely, showing some strength on the day. I don't really know what's going on with Cardano, to be fair. They keep talking about adding a Bitcoin reserve to the Cardano Foundation, which seems really strange. But the bullish thing for me is altcoins, especially outside of Ethereum. So that would be the total 3 market that we talk about a lot, is bullish on the day. So you can see, exclude Bitcoin and Ethereum, which aren't even up 1%. Most other of your top altcoins are up 2, 3, 4%. Some outliers, Decentraland up over 7.5%. Try to revive the metaverse. You've got DYDX up 6%, but more about the 3-4% level. Hype up 9%. We'll touch on Hype later. So if we look through the markets and then we'll dive into the chat, you can see total crypto market, including Bitcoin, is back above the December high. So back at all-time high levels, just consolidating, in my opinion, before we get that next impulsive move higher. If we draw on the fibs, you'll see what I mean. You can see we're still around the all-time high level, But the next target is this $4.6 trillion level. It's going to be insane when we hit that, and I don't think it'll be too long. I think we'll hit that before the end of October. You've got Total 2 rejected off the previous all-time high, just short of it. We're now back below the December high, but in my opinion, we are just resetting before we blow past the all-time high. Total 3 just consolidating. I showed this chart in CC Pro today. Just consolidating. This needs to come to a conclusion over the next few days. In my opinion, Sunday, Monday look like great time frames for this to finally break. A break above would take us above the December high. I'm super bullish, so perhaps I'm blind to it, but I think that is the move we're going to see, and it could be quite exciting for everybody that holds altcoins. And then you've got the others chart, so this excludes the top 10. You can see it's just consolidating, it's just coiling up. Everybody in CC Pro knows that is our favourite time. You've got this smaller and smaller range, and eventually this is going to break. It's more descending triangle, actually, to be fair, on the others chart. But when this breaks, I think we're going to see some big moves for altcoins. Bitcoin dominance down below the 60% range still. Even with this bit of a relief rally, I think this will reverse again. I think it'll be red next week. I think this was just a dead cat bounce, and we will continue lower on shorter time frames. If you look at it like it's a bear flag, you would say the target for the downside move is around 53%. If we look back in time, that was a major support level back in March 2024. So that would make sense. That would be a pretty obvious target. You can see it's kind of flagging out there. All right, let's leave Bitcoin on. We'll cover the news and we'll cover a few other things. Let's jump in the chat. Let's see who's in. Borg to the moon. Yes, Reese, definitely. I think September, October going to be very big months for Borg. Everybody's liking the new background. Good to see. Niall saying it's going to be hilarious watching pensions rotate into Bitcoin. It is and it isn't. I think what, for me, you know, if we look at, I suppose, any government bond, but let's pick the UK. So right now the UK yields are at the highest level since 1998, but that also means that the actual value of the bond has decreased massively. Pension funds hold that. That's what they rely on to pay people out. They're just getting absolutely destroyed by inflation, especially if you think 5.5% is high, but inflation's 3.6%. So the real return's less than 2%. So yeah, pension funds are basically a giant Ponzi. One day will go pop and they'll be backed up by government money. So yeah, I'd rather they allocate it to gold, Bitcoin, and at least something that depreciates over time. Appreciates but doesn't inflate over time, than fiat-based anything. How do Gala and Pepe look for the bull run? Hoping for some good news. Yeah, to be fair, I've said for months, I think Pepe's going to do really well this bull run. I've got it somewhere. Not necessarily because of the chart, because it is, after all, a meme coin. Let's have a look here. So you can see it's just kind of consolidating around this range here. I think when the meme coin phase returns, Pepe, Doge, Shiba, they'll all do very well. I think Pepe's not really had the full bull run experience, so that's why I think it'll do well. I also think brand-wise, Pepe's one of the best meme coins, because even people that don't understand crypto, they'll have seen the meme. You see it all over Twitter. Whenever there's a news story, you see Pepe the Frog popping up. So I think from a brand point of view, Pepe will capture a lot of the retail crowd. I think it'll do really well. New all-time highs. That's why I've got an alert set up here. This will be a new all-time high, and I fully expect it to hit that in the peak of the bull run once that euphoria phase kicks in, when you see Pepe going into price discovery, you'll know we're close to the top. That's what I would say. Because when meme coins go into all-time highs, that typically tells you the retail crowd have arrived, the market's frothy, people are chasing risk. That's when we're getting close to a top. Let's have a look at Gala. I quite like Gala. I don't know why I've got a soft spot for it, but I think it's just because when it moves really fast. And it's massively down. Not necessarily in comparison to all-time highs, but even if you just take the January 2023 peak, the March 2024, and the December 2024 peaks, you can see that we're still massively down from those levels. They look like a really stubborn resistance level. We break that, and this thing likely goes much higher. It reminds me of I think it's Polka Dot chart, but let's show it on the weekly. You can see on the weekly, once you get beyond kind of this area here, you could probably draw a box is probably better, but once you get beyond that level, it's pretty much vertical. So yeah, I think gaming narrative, I've said it before, it'll return, it always does. Gala Games, yeah, I think it'll do very well. I think they're trying to pivot as well away from just gaming, so that'll probably do them some good. But yeah, if you look at the polka dot chart, it looks very similar. You've got peak, peak, peak. Once you break above that, it's straight up. And total different coins, total different use case. Still a crypto, and it's still trading way below its bear market low even. So yeah, bullish on those. So yeah, Lee, I think very bullish. You've got Borg, so you should be set up as well. DM's asking about Antara. So Antara's been making some moves. They have moved the filming to Abu Dhabi. So if you're in CC Pro, you got the full update. Well, as much as we got. I think we'll start hearing things about Antara soon. I also think that the fact that there's no kind of leaks of information and the price is moving, it tells you somebody on the inside knows something. That's kind of how you know big news is coming. So it wouldn't surprise me if we keep seeing it rallying for another few weeks, then we eventually get the news. But we're pretty close with the founders, and they've not told us anything at the moment, whether it's under NDA or whatever. But normally when you see a price always leads narrative. That's just in life. No matter what asset you're trading, price will move before the news breaks. So Antara is just a prime example of that. I think we had said before, we thought, seed price was pretty reasonable. I think it was 12 cents. So yeah, I would be expecting at least a 10x on that. So 120 would be hopeful. The other thing is, it's been absolutely decimated, but that means there's no sell pressure. If you're buying Antara today as a newcomer and this is your first purchase, you're wanting at least a 20x out of it, because it's basically a low cap meme coin at this point. Add in the utility and then it just starts to fly. So yeah, I think it'll do really well once they finally start announcing some news. Bit of a frustrating one, to be honest. I'm sure everybody in CC Pro is as frustrated as we are, but it's just patience, and it's also just the market. There's almost no point trying to promote and market a crypto in sideways chop bear market territory. You need to wait for that euphoria because you need buyers. So yeah. AXGT, we can check it out. I don't know about the chart. Yeah, I don't think it's going to have one. Let's have a look at Borg, because a lot of you are chatting about Borg. Looking so bullish. This is the weekly time frame, but if you look on the 3-day, you can see we've broke above the 200-day and the 203-day moving average. We're now just consolidating here, sub kind of 27, 28 cents. I think when we get that break, that's when we're going to start to see big moves for Borg. I think it'll move before the end of September. I think there is some big announcements coming, but I think we'll get a lot of hints before the main announcement. And also, I think just purely because I think retail will start coming out in the market, the Borg price will automatically start doing a bit better. I think the bullish thing for Borg, if you don't hold any, isn't just that there's big things coming and whatever, because any crypto can do that. But I think if you look at the team, you know, Alex, Cyrus, Anthony, these people, they've literally been working on Borg, on Swissborg for, I think, what, coming up 9-10 years. You look at other crypto projects and the founders, they try a project, it fails, they start another one, they just become serial founders, but they never actually do a lot, or if they do, the rest of the things are just cash grabs. The thing I like about the founding team at Swissborg is they're loyal, they've got one focus, and that is Swissborg. They don't have all these other side projects that they're trying to worry about, and that's actually more unique in crypto than you would think. I spoke to a founder today and he was telling me about these other 3 projects that he's working on. I'd rather somebody just focused on one project at a time and saw it through. So yeah, but in terms of Swissborg app, it's the best one in crypto. If you have used any of the other ones, especially as a newbie, you know Swissborg is the best app. So yeah, I think we'll see some moves coming soon. Kieran says it feels like the most disappointing bull run in terms of alts. So I understand where people are coming from. I hear this a lot, is like, this is the worst bull run ever. The only thing I would say is most people, this is the first bull run. It might not be yours, Kieran, so I'm not singling you out, but I hear this all the time. This is the worst bull run ever. But a lot of people came into crypto late in 2020 when markets were flying. If you look at, let's use this other chart. Like if you entered crypto basically any time after the pandemic hit, it was just vertical. It was just straight up. That's not what normal bull runs are like, and it's definitely not what bull runs are like in any other asset class. So I understand that it's maybe not been as explosive as expected. I think that's going to end very soon. I think we will get that explosive move. There's a lot of people talking about how Bitcoin's boring, it just chops sideways, there's no volatility. The volatility will return when this liquidity tap turns on. That's what crypto needs. And if you look back, I think I've showed this before, but if you look back at 2017, you can see that's kind of what Bitcoin did. You know, it chopped sideways for long periods of time. So this chop here was 182 days, and then we had 3 weeks of an absolute pump, and then it was down and sideways for 182 days, and then we pumped for 3 weeks. So that was 2017. So if you're comparing it to after the pandemic kicked off, it probably is a totally different market. You don't have as much manipulation, although there's a lot going on. You don't have Grayscale and the GBTC nonsense that was going on. You don't have Celsius. You don't have all the crypto loans that were basically blew up. But if you actually look at the 2017 kind of pre-explosive phase, it was very similar. You had big chop sideways, 3 weeks of pump, chop sideways, 3 weeks of pump, and even then you still had these massive drawdowns. You know, this was what, a 2 week period, you're down 43%. We've not had that. We've had slow, step by step climbing. I think that phase will end very soon, and we're going to see a massive explosive bull run. Everything is lined up for it, and the fact that we've got all these tailwinds, you've got regulation, you've got the Trumps trying to pump every single asset they launch, you've got regulation, pro-crypto regulation, you've got institutions buying, you've got nation states mining Bitcoin. These aren't priced in. The market, especially in the altcoin market, especially when we factor in that we're going to have 95 ETFs
decided upon in the next 60 days, the amount of capital that's going to rotate into crypto is just obscene. And like I keep saying to everybody, it might not happen as quick as we all expected, but for life-changing gains, you can wait another couple of months, you can wait another year, you can wait 3 months, 6 months, whatever the time frame is. You just need to be patient. Usman, welcome to the stream. On as always, do we think a blow off top happens by mid-November? Yeah, I probably wouldn't bet against it. Maybe not a blow off top as in the end of the run, but I certainly think we'll get a local top, maybe 130, 135k, maybe up as high as 150k Bitcoin. So yeah, I do think we'll get a local top before the end of the year. Mid-November is very specific. Anything could happen. You know, we could see another war break out or something that would delay it. In my opinion, I think we will see a local top before the end of November. Niall says Kronos had a big move and you believe it'll rip further. Yeah, Kronos had a big move. I think Trump, or it's not Trump, but his media company announced that they were going to buy billions of it. Is that right? And it absolutely tore. It was like up 40% in a day. Let's have a look on the weekly. To be fair, it was in quite a nice pattern. If you look at something like this, it was putting in higher highs. It was also putting in higher lows. So, I mean, you know, the pattern was there. It was on the chart. Not many people probably paid too much attention to it. It's quite a ambitious move. I mean, it bounced off this support and what did it move? It was up 182% in the space of 3 weeks. So, I mean, the pattern was there, to be fair. It does look like it's just consolidating on the daily time frame. Looks like it could be finding support here, which is the wick low from May 2022. So, yeah. If it came back down to this level here, the 23 cents, that would be an amazing support level to find. You've got the two touches from November and December. So, yeah, that might be a destination for it if it drops any further. But it could find support here. Yeah, I think it'll go higher, especially if you've got billions pouring into it. But nice shout, to be fair. Do you think the Borg announcement is their debit card? I think they've got multiple announcements. I don't think it's one single announcement. Niall Kennedy, 2021 was driven by stimulus checks and folks stuck in the house bored out their banger. Yeah, there was a lot of that. But if you're telling me that, sorry, I feel like I'm just disagreeing, but I'm not. I'm just trying to put things into perspective. If you're telling me that the crypto market went from $157 billion to $3 trillion because of COVID checks and people bored in their house, I'm not buying it. It got to 3 trillion because of this. Let me find my chart. This is the US money supply. This is what caused it. Where are we? This is February 2020 to the peak of the bull run. They printed $6.4 trillion in basically 2.5 years. That's what caused crypto to pump. Part of that was the stimulus checks, but a very small percentage of it. The rest was money printing, QE. This is the repo market, which is where the bank reserves sit. It was at 2.5 trillion at its peak, and the balance sheet of the US central bank peaked at over 9 trillion and this was similar to what we're going through just now. So in 2019, a lot of people don't know this, but there was a repo crisis, which is basically when the repo market dries up. We're in that stage just now, and actually COVID accelerated that, but it had already began because of the repo crisis. So again, 4.8 trillion extra QE done by the US Federal Reserve, and that's just the US. It was multiplied all over the world. So Niall, you are right, to be fair. People were bored, they were buying crypto, stimulus checks that they didn't have anything to spend it on. 100% contributed to a lot of the speculation in the crypto market. But let's be honest, people getting $1,000 in furlough payments didn't send crypto to $3 trillion market cap. It was money printing, it was central banks, it was insane amounts of M2 money supply expansion that caused it. And we're about to see it happen again. And this time it'll be more than 6 trillion, it'll probably be 10, 12 trillion just in the US. There's a massive debt bubble, and the only way to get it solved is through money printing. Let's have a look. SEBI's holding for 2019. Shiv, I doubt it. I highly doubt you will get an XRP MasterCard because we're in the UK and the FCA hates people making money, having money, wealth, everything like that. Board to the moon. Jamie says some of the fib targets for low cap alts are wild. They are. I think just make sure you're taking profit and not holding out for one target. But I still think a lot of them will get hit. I think people will not expect their coins to go as high as they do. Somebody asked about sushi. Sushi looking really nice, to be fair. Just in this kind of down trend, similar to XRP. A bit of a descending triangle, something like that, a bit rough. But yeah, looking nice, just consolidating, just trending down. Once this trend breaks, then I think we'll break through this 108 level, and then from there it's pretty straight up to 187, and then the next target I'm sure is 280 something, 281 up here. So yeah, looking really nice, to be fair. That's the thing, like when people see downtrends, tokens selling off, they get a bit negative about price action, but all this is doing is consolidating, accumulating, and that leads to these explosive rallies. All the indicators are reset, anyone selling is out, and then what happens is we get those explosive moves. So these chop sideways are really bullish and really healthy for price action. Let's have a look. LimeWire. LimeWire, to be fair, is kind of struggled recently. It's not really moved with the market. I think it'll be one of the ones, we've spoke about it before, others is massively lagging the market. When this starts to play catch up, things like LimeWire will do really well. But we need that liquidity in the market. We need that frothiness. That's when people start chasing risk. Right now, the focus is on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I would probably say Solana, to be fair, with the Solana treasury company starting to announce. But long term, we're going to see all that money flow throughout the market. Liquidity injection as always. Niall says fair point, they will do it again. They're junkies. September 17th, 2019 was the repo crisis. Yeah, exactly. History rhymes. We are in the exact same situation. I don't want to bore everybody with macro because you probably get enough of it if you're in CC Pro, but like this is a real issue. This is the liquidity that is basically in the financial system in the US, and we are at the lowest level since 2021. So yeah, it's going to cause a major issue. These spikes aren't good. So this is the repo crisis happening in here. The overnight rate absolutely spiked. They didn't have cash on hand, and then they began massive money printing. And then COVID just came along at a very handy time for central banks to get out of the mess that they were all in. Coincidence. Let's touch on gold. 21 minutes before it closes, the highest weekly candle in history, up at $3,590. Like I say, there's a massive global debt problem. Japan, the UK, Europe, and of course the US all have spiking debt levels. They can't get it under control. They're going to have to print their way out of it. And that's why gold's doing so well. And when gold runs, Bitcoin follows. So, yeah, it's telling us where we're going. And you cannot be bearish on crypto right now. You can be frustrated, but you can't be bearish. All right, let's go quickly round all the news, and then we will come back and we'll talk about Borg targets. We'll look at Opulus. We'll see if... Are we going to get any announcements from Trump tonight? Let's have a look. All right, let's have a look. So, firstly, today we had massive job reports. So, the US has lost 78,000 manufacturing jobs this year. That's despite what Trump's trying to do. Revisions. So, this is the big story, and this is what's going to drive the rate cut narrative into next week. So, recently, they've started revising the old jobs numbers. And basically what they had reported was positive job growth for June. Well, today they revised June back down, and it's actually negative. The US economy lost jobs in June. So one of the reasons Powell's not been cutting is because he said the labour market was strong, people were still employed, and there was a lot of jobs being created. Well, actually, we know that data is false, and they've been using out of date data and inaccurate data. On top of this, today's payrolls were expected to be 75,000. They were only 22,000, so a massive miss. Combine that with earlier on this week, we got data that there is more unemployed people in the US than open vacancies. That's the first time that's been the case since during COVID. So the US economy is slowing. There's two things everybody has to remember. There's the stock market and assets, and then there's the real economy where people go to work, they go to the shops, they can't afford things, cost of inflation, they've got credit cards, they've got car loans, they've got mortgages. Those two people are generally different people. So if you judge the success of an economy on the stock market, you're ignoring 75% of the population. So when they talk about a strong economy, they base it on the stock market. The economy is very fragile right now. And that's why we saw a massive spike in the rate cut odds today. So 88% chance we get one rate cut of 25 basis points. We are now pricing in that there is a 12% chance we see a 50 basis point cut in September, which if you go back a week ago, there was a 13% chance we wouldn't even see a cut. So all this data basically is telling you the economy is weak. People are starting to be concerned about it, and Jerome Powell's going to be forced to cut. You can see first negative print since COVID, which we discussed. Rumours MicroStrategy is not added to the S&P, so we'll need to see how that plays out. But yeah, I don't see why it shouldn't be. It qualifies, and in post market it is rallying as well. So yeah, we will we'll see what happens next week. I think Michael Saylor's due to be on CNBC first thing Monday morning, just as the stock market opens. So interested to see what he says. Obviously, it's important to him that they get listed. It's very bullish for MicroStrategy stock price, but yeah, clearly the puppet masters have decided not yet. We've also got news that Sol Strategies has been approved to list on the Nasdaq starting on Tuesday. So that'll be bullish for Solana-based treasury companies. That'll be interesting. All right, we will cover CC Pro. If you are not in our Discord, it's a private members community. If you're not in it, you should be. You get all this information every single day. We have daily updates, we have beginners guides, we have charts, we've got a trading section, we've got a podcast, and we've got a chat room where you can network with other crypto investors. So the link is in the description, it's in the chat as well. If you're not in CC Pro, you need to get in CC Pro urgently. Not all about just making money, but also stop losing money. We see so many people get wrecked in a bull market because they just have no plan. And hopefully there's some people in CC Pro that can attest to this. But during every crash over the last year or 2 years, we could go back. This probably was one of the peak ones, August 2024. There were so many people DMing us saying that crypto was doomed. We were going into a recession. We had the same in April with the tariffs. We had the same in June with the Israel-Iran war that lasted like 2 minutes. We had loads of people saying crypto's doomed, should I sell, should I take profit, should I get out the market and wait and try and buy lower. We kept staying bullish, we kept saying the market was going up, and if you look at every single one of these spots, that was the cheapest time to buy. Trying to buy lower was impossible. We have not revisited those prices since. So there is a lot of value in CC Pro, not just in what to buy, when to buy, but also stay calm during the times when there's peak fear in the market. Because once we get out of this, we get up to 130k, 135k, we will flash crash to 100k, maybe even lower. I think a big correction is due. We've had 7, 10, 12, 15% corrections. We've not had a 30% correction in a while. I think we'll get it once we get up to that 135k, maybe even 150k area. We will see a massive correction, and a lot of people will be screaming that the top is already in. We're seeing that already. So yeah, CC Pro tries to keep you calm, keep you sane, and keep you in the market, which is the most important thing, because exiting now would be an absolutely life-changing mistake. All right, let's have a look. So Kieran says, why are people like Dr. Profit so bearish? Does their thesis just revolve around trying to get engagement, or do they actually have any tea on it? Thinking bearish, Dr. Profit on September, but others too. So how do I put this? So there's two schools of thought. There's one that they're wrecked. So they maybe got wrecked, they maybe got destroyed in trading, or they're down bad, profitable, and they're just negative. They're just annoyed with the market, and they're just kind of can't see the positives because they've been wrecked. So they're just bitter. The other school of thought is that being bearish is really good for engagement. So if you look at the posts on Twitter, bearish posts always get loads of engagement, because when prices are down, being the positive guy, everybody's so miserable, so negged out, they don't want to hear positive. They want to reinforce their negative feeling. So being bearish gets loads of engagement, and you can also post whatever you want. I could write a tweet saying, because we've not reclaimed 112k, we're going to like 74k. You can literally pick anything out the sky, and people will be like, do you think that's going to happen? Because people are worried about their position, especially at peak fear. At peak fear times, it says what it is on the tin. Everybody's scared. So if somebody's saying 74k, that freaks more people out. So then they engage, they click, they argue. So being bearish is really good for engagement. I keep posting and calling people out because they delete their tweets afterwards. The market could pump and then they'll say, oh, I was nowhere near my computer and I opened 100x long on Bitcoin and I called the bottom, but I wasn't at my computer. It's like, right, okay. They flip bullish when it suits. They delete their bearish tweets, but also they're not bearish in conviction. They don't short the market. I'm seeing so many people bearish on Tesla right now, and I should have loaded up the tweet, but it was back in March. It was just ridiculous how much bearishness was at Tesla. So I tweeted saying I was going to buy some Tesla because I just couldn't handle how bearish everybody was. And I actually posted it in CC Pro Alpha at the time as well. That trades up 41%. And everybody's still bearish. Everybody's telling you Robotaxi's not going to work. Tesla's doomed, blah, blah, blah. The guy is literally about to release robots on the world. Yeah, I just wouldn't bet against it. But my point is people are super bearish, but they have no conviction. They don't go short. They don't post positions. They just like to tweet a lot. So the theory is bears sound smart and they're good for engagement, but they don't make money because they don't have any conviction. So yeah, I firmly believe that. And there will be a time to be bearish. The crypto will not go up forever. We will have another bear market. Don't believe the hype. But right now is not that time. We have not gone into expansion, and the altcoins we're seeing the first green shoots, in my opinion, of the next leg, but you need confirmation. We've not got that yet. So in a roundabout way, they could have TA, but it's like I say, it's not based on anything. They just like to post negative because it's good for clicks. And just to highlight that point, there is a KOL or an influencer that tweets wrong information from time to time because it's good for clicks. Because everybody comments saying, "Oh, your tweet's wrong," but they do it on purpose because we've spoke to them, and they do it on purpose just to get clicks. So, yeah, if you're if all your faith in humanity wasn't eroded by crypto, then there's just an extra kick in the teeth just to tell you that people will do anything for engagement, anything for clicks. All right, let's talk about this. So if you're not on Blofin, so Blofin is the platform we use for trading. It's so clean and easy to use, but right now they're doing amazing bonuses. If you sign up and deposit $500, you can get a $25 bonus, but they go right up. So you can get loads of cool bonuses. Some are based on volume, some are based on just deposits. You can also create more than one account. So Blofin doesn't use KYC. All you need is an email. We will drop our sign up link in the chat. Hopefully Dex listening, you can do it. Sign up with our link. You can also do copy trading there, but it's an amazing place for just normal trading. And they don't have mental 200x leverage, which I think is a good thing. So yeah, loads of good bonuses live right now until September the 15th. So if you're not signed up, sign up using our link. You can get those bonuses, and even if you've already got an account, you can set up another one, use it for trading, and you'll earn some decent rewards. There we go. Ryan, if you're in CC Pro, you should have received a full Vantage update. We will be publishing it more public as the months go on. The next update will be next week. Looking very, very positive. And we will have some more updates on TG and stuff coming in September. Right now, the fund's doing really well. And I think everybody will be really happy when it launches. And one of the big aspects of Vantage was we wanted something that rewarded people no matter the market. And I think that's what Hype have tapped into. So I actually messaged Dick and Don about this the other day saying I think Hype's going to absolutely melt faces this bull run, because what they do is the fees from their platform, they reinvest into the token. So as long as people keep using their platform, the token can only go up because there's a constant buy pressure on the token. So yeah, Hype doing really well today, up 9%. As more and more people come into the market, more transactions, more fees, more sign-ups, Hype's going crazy. This will do, like, I would easily say it'll do $250 to $500 at the peak. $500 wouldn't even surprise me. It's just going to absolute melt faces in the peak of the bull run. We'll check Opulus in a second. I just want to check. So this is the Bitcoin futures chart. So 15 minutes to close for the week. This is where some of the issues in crypto are happening right now. We've got CME, which is more institutional traders. Then you've got things like Binance, and the price is different. You'll see CME price is 111,930, and Binance is $400 shorter. I've said for weeks, but I think this is going to change very soon, and I think that's why Binance are so aggressively flushing the market. They know eventually, very soon, they're going to get regulated out of the market, so they won't be able to do all this wash trading that they're doing right now. If you look at Binance on chain, they don't hold Solana or Ethereum except customers. So what they're using is they're using your crypto sat on the exchange to dump prices, scoop up cheap crypto, and then basically put it back. That's going to be outlawed very soon, I believe. It's going to be really bullish, and that'll help price actually appreciate, because you won't see these flash crashes caused by Binance whenever it suits. But more importantly, this green box is a CME gap, still unfilled. So we almost tapped it today, or early hours of this morning. So this still remains unfilled. I think that will get filled next week. I think we're going to have a really bullish week next week. The week before a rate cut should be bullish. Let me see if I've got a tab open. We do have a lot of macro news next week. That is the only thing. So on the 9th, would that be Tuesday, we have the revision of the jobs data for the past year. That's going to be massive. It's going to be huge revisions. They're talking about revising down the job numbers by 1 million jobs. The biggest revision in history. Terrible. Absolute terrible. But bullish for rate cuts. And I think at that point, the 50% basis cut will rise to maybe a 30-35% chance. But then just 24 hours later, we have PPI inflation. Good chance that comes in hot and shakes the market a little bit. And then you've got CPI inflation on the 11th, which is Thursday next week. So a lot of data. You've also got a bond auction, which who wants to buy government bonds right now? Just trash. So I think, although we'll have a green week next week, I think it's still going to be volatile. I think we're going to have ups and downs. Everybody really bullish on rate cuts. Then inflation kind of rocks the market a little bit. I think it'll swing both ways. So yeah, it'll be an interesting week as always. And then the week after, we've got FOMC. We have the rate cut decision. And we also don't know who's actually turning up at the FOMC meeting, because you've got Lisa Cook, who's been fired by Trump but still doing her job, and you've got Stephen Moran, who's been nominated by Trump but he has not officially been confirmed by Senate. So we don't even know who's attending this FOMC, but it's pretty much guaranteed we're going to get a rate cut at this point. Just think of that. The biggest central bank in the world, the one that impacts the lives of everyone around the world because they control the interest rate on the dollar. And 2 weeks before, you don't even know who's turning up to the meeting to decide on the interest rates because there's so much theatre going on in politics. It's just a crazy, crazy world. And 99.9% of our net worth lies in their hands, which is nice. Usman wants a full night stream when we break out. I don't know if I could do a full night. My trouble is actually my throat. But also, now that I'm on camera, I need to remember that I actually need to pay attention. What I'll do is, when Total 3 breaks, and I've got an alert to be fair, so when Total... Is this Total 3? Yeah, Total 3. When Total 3 makes a new all-time high, no matter when it is, we'll go live, or I'll go live, and we'll stream for as long as we can, until we run out of things to talk about. Usman's also asking about Dubai. So if you are new to the stream, if you've not watched our streams before, if you're not in CC Pro, you'll know that me, Dec, and Don all have set up ourselves in Dubai. Dec is a permanent resident now. But the reason we chose to do that, for me personally, is because I don't really trust the UK government. It's not just about tax. Everybody thinks it's just to avoid tax. It's not just about tax. It's about the UK government, what's going on in the UK, just the state of everything. Don't want to get into it too much, but having that flexibility of having a visa somewhere else, especially in a country like the UAE, Dubai, is so free. They don't care. Like, they don't. If you follow their rules, they will not bother you. To set it up, we have a full guide on it. We've got a partnership as well. We can help you, put you in touch with the right people. But in terms of the visa, it's a really easy process. I think it took 4 or 5 days when you're out there to get the actual visa. It depends on how busy they are with. You have to go for a medical. You have to get your biometrics done. I think you get your fingerprints done and stuff like that. You get a chest x-ray. I got mine's done in April and I've already forgot about it. So it couldn't have been that stressful. So, yeah. Basically, you have to go out there. I was out for 12 days and it was enough time to get my visa, get my medical, get my biometrics and get my bank accounts all set up. So... but just check with the company. They'll advise you and they'll keep you right. I think they say to go out for 2 weeks. But I managed to get mine done in 12 days. So, yeah. It's really easy. And you get to spend 2 weeks in Dubai. So, I mean, win-win. It was unreal. I can stay in the UK for as long as I want. I just need to go to Dubai once every 6 months. So mine's a different type of visa from Dec's. Mine's a work visa, as opposed to a full permanent resident visa. So I just need to go once every 6 months. So I'm going in 2 weeks actually. And you just need to stamp it. So you don't need to go stay for days on end. You just need to go through customs. In fact, you don't need to go to Dubai. You just need to go to the UAE. So if you want to go to Abu Dhabi, that's an option as well. When we get a rate cut, will we see prices instantly pump? See, I've said all year that I actually thought the rate cut was going to be a sell the news event. So it really depends on price action going into the event. So right now, if we got the rate cut tomorrow, I'd say the prices will move and pump because we're down so low and we're off the highs. But it all depends on next week. If we rally really hard next week, then we could see a correction with the rate cut. I actually think the bigger news is not the rate. The rate cut is big, but I don't actually think that's the biggest news. The biggest thing will be if we get an end to QT and any insinuation of QE. If that happens, then that'll be a bigger news than the actual rate cut. And then I think on top of that, we've got what they're going to do with the huge amounts of government debt that they've got to roll over in the rest of the year. I think it's like 9 trillion in the last quarter of the year. So if they're not going to do QE, who's buying all that? I just have no idea. Chef says, when you get Dubai residency, do you have to stay there for 90 days in 1 year? No, you don't. Not with my visa. There is obviously different visas, so no. Yeah, so you open a company out there, and then you get a visa to work for that company as like a director's visa. But you should just schedule an appointment or watch the video. I think there's a video on our channel of how to set it up and everything, and then you can book an appointment with the guys at GenZone. They'll keep you right. They'll sort you out. To be honest, I literally just told them what I needed. They sorted it all. They told me where to go. They ordered taxis, and everything was done for you. You don't really have to think. Even the bank, you turn up at the bank, the guy knows who you are, what's going on. He sets you up with your accounts. He gets you to transfer money to make sure it works, and then you're done. Crypto Buys thinks we're going down to 103k before we go higher. There is a possibility we go lower. 103k would be around there. I think if we go that low, something's gone wrong, if is my honest opinion. I just can't see why we'd go to 103. There's so much bullishness about to happen. What is 100? 103 is not really a fib. I think I had this marked, you'll see, before I actually put the fibs on. This 105k level, this would be the worst case scenario for me. I think if we go there, I'd be expecting a massive reaction, some type of V-shaped bottom. But yeah, I don't know. I think if we look in the daily, I mean, of course we could come back down and test this. If we test it again, it's going to be a lot weaker because we've bounced off it 3 times. How much buy pressure is below it? But yeah, well, hopefully we don't go to 103k. The other thing is, I think time's running out to go to 103k. I think if we get a big move down this weekend, that makes sense. But if we get into like Tuesday, Wednesday, and we're still up fighting with this 112k, then yeah, I'm pretty convinced that we're not going the low is in. I kind of don't want to call the bottom in right now because we're going out a weekend 2 weeks before rate cuts. It would be prime opportunity for a massive liquidation event. The only thing I would say is I don't believe there's, I mean, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I just can't imagine there's huge amounts of liquidity below us. I'll see if I can actually find the liquidity chart. But I'm pretty sure the last time I looked at it, the majority of liquidity is actually now above, not below. Let me try and find it. Oh, I can't believe we've not even talked about Wolfie. World Liberty Financial whatever. Absolute disaster coin. I can't believe nobody's mentioned it. Yeah, I can't find it just now, but I'm pretty sure most of the liquidity is now above us. So yeah, I don't know how profitable dropping to 103k would be versus going up first, then crashing the price. That's typically what we see, but so let's talk about this. Yeah, like just crazy. And as usual, with crypto. Everything's a scam. Everything's a ploy. So Justin Sun apparently was one of the biggest early investors. Rather than sell his tokens, he borrowed tokens off an exchange, dumped them, and then repaid the tokens with his own stash. Utter chaos. I mean, I think this was just the Mexi chart that caused this massive spike, but I mean, it doesn't look good when you've got the son of the sitting president launch a token that's not a meme coin. Like, that's the thing with the Trump coin. Kind of, it is what it is. If it goes to zero, it goes to zero. It's a meme coin. I don't even care. I just think when they're talking about they've got the stable coin USD1, this is the government's token. Like, why bother? Just an absolute cash grab. It kind of ruins any reputation of them in crypto. But I think they made 5 billion off it. So I mean, money talks. I mean, I'm slagging them off, but if somebody offered me 5 billion to rug pull everybody, then I'd probably do it, to be fair. Right, let's have a look. So Opulus, I think we've said for a while that there's no reason why Opulus won't break out and go absolutely insane. I put this green bar as an amazing target area, mainly because it's over 20x from where it is right now. So, I mean, you can't be unhappy with 20x. Now, I know everybody's going to say, but it was 100x gem. Yeah, it can 100% do 100x. My point is if you get to 20x and you're not significantly scraping profit out the market, you're going to get wrecked. So, yeah, it can do 100x. Yeah, it can go way up to these levels here. But for me, I think if you're buying anywhere around kind of the sub 4 cent level, then this would be a prime zone to get as much profit out of the market if you've not already before then. So if you're buying at 4 cents, you know, you've got to be taking profit at this wick high, which is 10x, and let the rest run. In terms of Borg, I think it'll easily do $3, $4. I think it could go higher. I think it's really difficult because I think right now people think that's us just saying big numbers to get people excited for it. It's just not the case. It's based on evidence, the app, what's coming, the sheer enthusiasm around Swissborg for what's coming as well. Everybody is pumped for, it's almost like a relaunch of the token. And the entire business is focused on it. So, yeah, I think it's going to absolutely eclipse most people's targets, and I'm looking forward to it. It's been a long slog. We've been down in these levels for 1,200 days. Oof. That is a long consolidation. But they do say the longer the accumulation, the bigger the pump, and you don't get much longer than 1,228 days. So, yeah, I think $3-4. But once again, it's not about what it hits, it's about how much you take out on the way up. That's all it's ever been about. You can wait for a top target, but that's how you get wrecked. What do I think Borg could get to? I don't know. I think $4. It could definitely get there. I think that would be quite a stretch to go much beyond that. But listen, I honestly wouldn't write anything off. Like I say, it's almost like a new project. I mean, based on the fibs, it could technically get up to the $6 level, but the only problem I think it would have in getting to those levels is the fact that people have been holding for so long. There might be decent sell pressure once we get beyond previous all-time high. That might hold it back. The other thing The only other reason why I don't think it might get as high as 6 is I think this is going to be one of those bull runs where it's explosive, crazy, massive gains, but it's over quite quick, the rally, because we saw that, we've kind of saw that already. We have these massive long chop periods, then we just have like 2 weeks of pump, and then we just go into chop sideways. And as much as I think we're about to end that, I think we could see that at the back end of the cycle as well, where we see just monster rallies and then a coin just fades out. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fast moving bull run, and that's kind of why we've hammered the point home, is that you need to have a take profit plan, because in the moment you're going to be scrambling around. Should I take profit? Should I not? Is it going higher? People are going to buy into stuff that's pumping because they do it every single cycle. You really need to have a plan written down, almost memorized, ready to take action, because it gets hectic and people get really emotional. And it's understandable. People get more emotional at highs than lows. And the reason for that is they're looking at a phone screen, and the amount of money on it is possibly more money than it'll take them like 5 years to earn. So they become overly emotional, understandably. Whereas at the lows, you can always buy more. You know, the bear market seems like it's going on forever. At the highs, it's over really quickly. So yeah, you need a written down plan. You need to be ready to execute and be as unemotional as possible. Even though potentially you're looking at life-changing gains. So it is easier said than done, which is why we recommend writing it down, booking a one-to-one, being in CC Pro. All these things will help. So it looks like MicroStrategy will not be included in the S&P 500. So yeah, I assume that means it's going to be next time they rebalance it, which I think they do it every quarter maybe, or maybe every month. I don't think that's necessarily a terrible thing. I mean, the price of MicroStrategy will probably be okay either way. I mean, up on the day, down on post. I wouldn't really read too much into that. Like I say, I've said for months, everything's been lined up to all go at once. This is just another example of it. And it might be that it's timed with ETFs. Like I say earlier, we've got 95 crypto ETFs. We've also got the Ethereum staking ETF, or the change to allow Ethereum to stake, coming eventually. I think that's why there's so much demand for Ethereum right now, because Wall Street loves yield. So yeah, I think we're going to have an explosive end of the year. Yeah, you can also see stablecoin market cap just continues to increase, basically a straight line up. This is Tether as well. And one more chart, this chart here. So ultimately, this shows you the dominance of stablecoins in the market. We're currently at a bit of a resistance level. It would be ideal if we got rejected here. Basically, every time we drop, this is where the local high is. So this was the December high, this was the March 2024 high. So the bottom of this chart is always the local high for altcoins. So obviously we had a little rally during the summer. We want this to come down, and once we start to bottom out, that's when the top will be in for the altcoin market. The bullish thing is, although the dominance level kind of trades in a range, the amount of stablecoins goes up in terms of monetary amount. So even the next time we get down to this sub 5% level, stablecoin market cap is going to be much higher, and that is going to be bullish for alts.
All right, that is us for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're not in CC Pro, follow the link in the description or in the chat. Get involved. Get involved in the chat room as well, because then you've got some like-minded people. Crypto can be lonely at times, especially when you are struggling with the emotions, fear or greed. Get involved with Blofin as well. I shared that earlier. A great place to trade and some amazing bonuses right now. And that is all for me. I'll be back next week, maybe over the weekend. If Total 3 breaks out, Usman, you have a deal, I will go live no matter the time. But I think we'll probably have quite a quiet weekend. And then Sunday night, we might do a candle close stream, because I think it's going to be a volatile week next week. So until Sunday, I will see you very soon, and I'll catch you in CC Pro.